five-pointed star, and other five-pointed stars are subtly correlated to satanic pentagram. And pentagon subtly correlates to pentagram, if you realize it's a five-pointed thing, pentagon. It even sounds like pentagram. Pentagon, pentagram. You know, it's rough for Ted to see these five-pointed stars on the USA flag. It's rough for Ted to see five-pointed stars on any flags. It's rough for Ted to see five-pointed stars anywhere. It's, you know, even though the U.S. Department of State emblem has a six-pointed star with a bunch of five-pointed stars. That's about the only six-pointed star what even subtly correlates to Ted's star in U.S. symbols. Therefore, Ted has a problem with five-pointed stars. Ted's not loyal to any flag on Earth, you know, really, much. He's really loyal to his flag, the Kingdom of Ted flag, who is God, therefore the Kingdom of Ted, who is God and the Creator, and the Lord, and the King of all things, and the I Am, the great I Am they used to call, now he's calling himself the I Am, of current defined I Ams, the Alpha and the Omega. Other things is Ted. Ted is the child. Ted is the Messiah. Therefore, if you translate this to Greek, Ted is Christ. Therefore, Ted, if nothing else, is Ted Christ. Is Ted Jesus Christ or Jesus? Or really Ted Jesus Christ God? It's still debatable. We're still trying to tell you who Ted is and Ted's identity, yet some don't want to believe it. They're so deceived they can't believe it. They're so deceived they don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it's possible Ted is the only coming of Child Messiah to Earth. Never going to be another coming at end of millennium. Ted, you know, except an instance of Ted. It's a tiny fraction of Ted or God, and we've tried to explain this, how this is to work. It's possible Ted is possibly only coming of 100% God to Earth. Ted is possibly only coming of 100% God to Earth. There's no possibility of actual or true or real child of Messiah could have been God's son or son of God. Even per Isaiah 9:6, it tells you titles to child of Messiah to be the mighty God, the everlasting Father. Though even in this, Prince of Peace is not accurate because he was never a prince. He was never supposed to be a prince. He's supposed to be the king, the supreme king, the highest royalty. You see, the entire universe, heaven and earth, or heaven and earth, and people really want to. We really want to put in this word heaven and earth, and then remainder of the universe. Therefore, there's no possibility a true, actual, real child of Messiah could have been God's son or son of God. Definitely not God the Son on earth with God the Father in heaven. Definitely not praying to God the Father in heaven while God the Son. Definitely not praying to a spiritual God while a human God. Definitely not communicating with the spiritual God while a human God. Definitely there couldn't have been two gods. He had to be the one living God. He was and is and continues to be the one living God. You see, how is it them in Judaism for years pushed and insisted, even Abraham, there was only the one living God. Moses, the one living God. Different of them what were Jewish and what you refer to be the Old Testament or the scrolls the Jewish have and that had in Temple and Jerusalem and Israel at the time of Jesus. They believed there was the one living God. How is it you take these few verses in Genesis and then say we are creating man in our image? Okay, you're really banking on a few words or language. There's tons of mistakes or inconsistencies or problems or obvious mistakes and obvious inconsistencies in what you have with the Old and New Testament. Even the scrolls or scriptures, Dead Sea Scrolls, things that them in Judaism have and Jewish have. Because you're Jewish doesn't say you're in Judaism. Because you're Jewish doesn't guarantee you're in Judaism. Judaism is a religion. Jewish is your human race. It's what you are genetically. It's what you are in your blood. It's what you are genetically, if you're genetically tested. You know, it's a different human race. They're called Jewish. Or some call them Jews, because they want to racially slur or be anti-Semitic, and they just want to call them Jews. Those Jews. You know, Jews. You know, it's like calling you, you know, something else. And different racial slurs. And, you know, how ironic. How could you do it? How can you possibly be Nazi, anti-Semitic, African Americans? Many of you, Ted ran into Nazis, worse Nazis, anti-Semitics. I can believe it. It's like after what happened to you after African slavery, United States of America, and different African slavery, how could you be worse Nazis than Nazis to anti-Semitic? Ted was nearly in shock when I ran into some of those. And then those were saying, oh, Ted has a problem with Africans or African Americans. No, you have a problem with Ted. You know, you have a problem with the fact I'm a Jew. You know, and then some twist and contort many different things and try to say, well, the Jewish, you know, the Jews executed Jesus. They did all this to Jesus and then executed him on a cross. I'm saying, well, wait a minute now. Romans did it. Or Romans, Italians, Sicilians, I lump them all together. These people did it also. Don't blame only Jews for what happened to Jesus. Don't forget what happened to Jesus. Don't forget, humans, what you did to Jesus. Don't forget, all humans, what you did to Jesus. Don't forget, humans, what you did to Jesus. Don't forget, human race, what you did to Jesus. Don't forget what happened to, or what you believe happened to Jesus. Do not forget, humans, what you did to Jesus. Do not forget, humans, what you believe you did to Jesus. Do not forget, Christians, what you did to Jesus. Do not forget, Christians, what you believe was done to Jesus. Do not forget them in Judaism. Well, them in Judaism want to reject Jesus, so they don't really care. They think Jesus was a false Christ, and at you know, at a minimum. Therefore, do you believe these Hebrews? Well, I don't believe it. This is Ted now. I was raised a Christian. I was actually raised a Seventh-day Adventist. I was raised a Christian. I was raised by a church school, Seventh-day Adventist church school teacher. The Seventh-day Adventist church school teaching family. It was a career church school teacher in Seventh-day Adventist Church of Bert Kurtz. Now, it's not possible, Ted believes, either the entire New Testament was written entirely in the original language was Greek and Aramaic, and some Aramaic, by Hebrews, by Jewish, by them before Jesus, what were raised in what you would call then Judaism. By them, what were even, you know, visiting or sometimes at a temple in Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, reading these scrolls in Hebrew language, studying these scrolls in Hebrew language, families and these learning to study and read in Hebrew and communicate in Hebrew, talk in Hebrew, communicate in Hebrew, write in Hebrew. Therefore, Ted cannot believe these, you know, what they claim or think Jesus wrote nothing. I cannot believe it. Jesus was supposed to be educated, and even a rabbi called, well, how documented. Cannot believe it. That Jesus wrote nothing, and then these other disciples and what contributed to the New Testament wrote all things in Greek and Aramaic. It definitely, I've been told, and it definitely seems to be religious fraud. fabricated by what they called Roman Empire at some point in time, and then to Holy Roman Empire that insisted it was holy. Do you believe with how much those went after, or how much early Christians were pursued and persecuted, including in Roman Colosseum, any original writings from Jesus and our disciples carried forward hundreds of years later? I can't believe it. This is Ted. All these copies of copies and copies in Greek and Aramaic, I believe, and Angels Have Told Ted, were done by, like when they started to do the artisans started doing all these holy quote-unquote relics, and they started turning them out in like artisan factories and relic factories, and by even cottage industry relic artisans and things, and people that would do these quote-unquote relics. They started turning them out and putting them in many different what now are called Roman Catholic cathedrals and churches. Therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is Ted cannot believe it currently that New Testament is even much accurate. And he definitely cannot believe miracles of Jesus are even accurate. He can't believe, he can't do quote-unquote miracles of Jesus. He can't believe these are even accurate. A coming of child of Messiah is only human. It's human. It's born of a human female or woman. What is a proper bloodline from Adam, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, David, Solomon. Proper bloodline. And at best 50-50 genetics. It has to be of this bloodline. Therefore, even if she was a complete virgin, immaculately conceived, it would be only 50-50 of these genetics. 50% human with genetic defects, with genetic problems, with this genetics, and then 50%, spiritually conceived or conceived of God. Or not, this was told, and we were going to figure out how to make it happen by her not telling the truth, maybe, what we're saying. Mary, for example, could have been stoned to death when she became pregnant with Jesus. Also, there's nothing documented, even in the New Testament or written, where there was a hymen check or verification she was a virgin while pregnant with Jesus. There's no verification. There's no verification she was still a virgin when pregnant enough and showing with Jesus. Therefore, they had people that could do it then, like midwives and different things. What traditionally would check virginity even before marriage. They had people who could check virginity and check to see if a hymen was intact. And there's nothing written in New Testament what even indicates, even in slightest, and there was a verification of Mary's virginity.